You've got front row seats for the forgotten 1975 shows we're uncovering next week. Shows so bad, they vanish faster than your motivation on Monday morning. Today, we're counting down 10 forgotten disasters from 1975 that had everything going for them. Big budgets, major stars, network backing, and still managed to crash and burn in the most embarrassing ways possible. Let's get started. Kicking off our countdown of catastrophes was a show so forgettable, I guarantee you've never heard of it. The Monafus, NBC's brilliant idea to create an Italian-American family sitcom that made every stereotype look subtle by comparison. Picture this. Every Sunday, the Monafus clan gathers for dinner in their Connecticut home. There's Tony the patriarch, his long-suffering wife Rose, their priest son, and the daughter who committed the ultimate family sin by marrying someone who isn't Italian or Catholic. Scandal! The show was basically all in the family if Archie Bunker was Italian and the writers had zero understanding of actual human beings. NBC pulled the plug after exactly 3 weeks. They'd actually filmed 13 episodes, but only 8 ever saw daylight. The 9th episode, bumped by Game 5 of the World Series. Even baseball was more interesting than this disaster. Coming in at number 9, we have what should have been television gold. Oscar winner Lee Grant starring in Faye, playing a 43-year-old divorcee living her best swinging singles life in 1970 San Francisco. I mean, it actually sounds ahead of its time, right? A sophisticated comedy about a middle-aged woman rediscovering herself after divorce. But they completely destroyed it. See, some genius at NBC scheduled Faye during the sacred family viewing hour at 8:30 p.m., then demanded the writers gut everything that made the show interesting. The ratings told the whole tragic story. Faye started out at number 12. Not bad. Then nosedived to 68th place. Lee Grant was not having it. She went on The Tonight Show and completely obliterated NBC executives on live television. She called out their incompetence, their cowardice, and to top it all off, flipped off the camera for good measure. The woman literally gave NBC the finger on national television. And somehow, she still got nominated for an Emmy for this train wreck, though she lost to Mary Tyler Moore. Remember any of these epic failures? Or did your family's collective brain decide to protect you by erasing all memory of them? Drop a comment and let me know if you actually sat through any of these disasters live. I mean, I need to know who the real heroes are out there. ABC's contribution to our countdown comes courtesy of Karen. Their desperate attempt to turn Karen Valentine into the next Mary Tyler Moore. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Valentine played Karen Angelo, this ridiculously enthusiastic lobbyist working for a liberal citizens advocacy group in Washington, D.C. Think Mr. Smith Goes to Washington meets That Girl, but without any of the charm that made either of those work. The problem was glaringly obvious to everyone except ABC executives. Karen Valentine was absolutely perfect as a supporting character. Sweet, likable, and great in small doses. But she just couldn't carry an entire show. The show limped along for exactly 4 months before ABC put it out of its misery. This was Valentine's 3rd attempt at getting her own sitcom. 2 previous pilots had already been rejected, and somehow ABC thought the 3rd time would be the charm. At number 7, we have Mobile One, which sounds like it should have been awesome. Jackie Cooper, you know, the kid from the Little Rascals who grew up to be a legitimate actor, playing a veteran TV news reporter driving around in a mobile unit covering breaking stories. This came from Jack Webb's production company, you know, the Dragnet mastermind, so you'd expect that gritty, realistic approach that made his other shows work. Cooper's character was even given this interesting backstory. A once great reporter rebuilding his career after hitting rock bottom with alcoholism. Compelling premise, proven star, successful producer. What could go wrong? Well, ABC's scheduling department, that's what. They decided to throw Mobile 1 into the Friday night death slot against Sanford and Son, MASH, and Chico and the Man. When that predictably failed, their brilliant solution was moving it to Monday nights against Rhoda, Phyllis, and All in the Family. It was like ABC executives were actively trying to murder this show. Well, mission accomplished. 13 episodes, and it was over. Now we're getting to the really interesting disasters. Hot L Baltimore. And yes, that missing E was totally intentional. It was Norman Lear's attempt to bring a controversial off-Broadway play to primetime television. Now, picture the seediest hotel you can imagine in Baltimore, where the neon sign is so busted that the E burned out years ago and nobody bothered fixing it. The residents? Prostitutes, illegal immigrants, and one of television's first gay couples. This was definitely not the Brady Bunch. ABC actually had to run viewer discretion warnings before each episode, which was practically unheard of for sitcoms in 1975. Many local stations flat out refused to air it. Conservative groups were losing their minds, progressive critics were calling it groundbreaking, and audiences were mostly just confused. This was Norman Lear, the guy who'd created All in the Family and Maude, so expectations were sky high. Instead, he got his first major flop. 13 episodes and done. Years later, Lear still insisted it was a terrific show. And honestly, he might be right. It was just about 20 years too early for television audiences. If you're loving these deep dives into TV's forgotten disasters and want more retro rabbit holes, smash that like button and hit subscribe. We've got even more bizarre failures coming your way. And trust me, some of these upcoming stories will make your jaw drop. Coming in at number 5 is Joe and Sons, CBS's attempt to turn Godfather star Richard Castellano into a sitcom hero.
Catch the brightest stars on CBS. Tuesdays this fall.
Because nothing says family comedy like casting Pete Clemenza, right? Castellano played Joe Vitale, a widowed sheet metal worker in Hoboken trying to raise his 2 sons while dealing with his extended Italian-American family. CBS executives were probably thinking they'd struck gold. Godfather actor in a working-class family comedy? What could go wrong? Everything, as it turns out. Castellano turned out to be a complete nightmare to work with. He demanded creative control, rewrote scripts without permission, and basically made everyone's life miserable. The behind-the-scenes chaos showed on screen. The writing was inconsistent, the tone was all over the place, and audiences could sense something was off. One season, and CBS was done with the drama. Number 4 brings us to Kate McShane, which was actually way ahead of its time in the most tragic way possible. Anne Meara, yes, Jerry Stiller's comedy partner and wife, starred as a tough Irish Catholic lawyer from a working-class background. This was groundbreaking stuff for 1975. A female attorney as the lead character in a legal drama? Decades before Ally McBeal or The Good Wife, here was Kate McShane taking on difficult cases while navigating family drama with her priest brother and ex-cop father. The show tackled real issues, had solid writing, and Meara brought genuine depth to the character. So, why did it fail spectacularly? Well, simple. Audiences in 1975 just weren't ready for a strong female professional lead in a traditional male genre. 10 episodes and it was over. Kate McShane disappeared into TV history, forgotten until shows like Cagney and Lacey proved audiences were finally ready for complex female characters. It only took another decade. At number 3, we have NBC's The Invisible Man, starring David McCallum. NBC figured they had a guaranteed hit. Popular star plus classic sci-fi premise equals ratings gold. McCallum played Dr. Daniel Weston, a scientist who becomes invisible and works as a secret agent for the government. The execution was where everything went horribly wrong. The special effects were embarrassingly bad, even by 1975 standards. I mean, we're talking visible strings pulling floating objects, green screen suits that barely worked, and disappearing acts that looked like they were done by a high school drama club. One season, and NBC admitted defeat. McCallum went back to being visible in other projects, probably relieved he didn't have to wear those ridiculous green suits anymore. Coming in at number 2 is Bronk, CBS's attempt to bring movie star intensity to weekly television. Jack Palance, legitimate Oscar winner, starred as Lieutenant Alex Bronkoff, a tough Pittsburgh police detective. Now on paper, this looked like a sure thing. Palance was coming off major film success. The show was filmed on location in Pittsburgh for authentic grit, and CBS was pushing it as their answer to grittier, more realistic police dramas. But here's what they completely miscalculated. Palance's trademark intensity was perfect for 2-hour movies, but absolutely exhausting for weekly television. 24 episodes later, CBS decided that authentic Pittsburgh angst wasn't worth the viewer complaints. Palance went back to movies where his intensity could be properly appreciated in smaller doses. And our number 1 biggest disaster of 1975 is When Things Were Rotten.
Once upon a time when things were rotten.
Mel Brooks's spectacular failure to conquer television. This was supposed to be ABC's secret weapon, their answer to Monty Python's Flying Circus. Mel Brooks, the comedy genius behind Blazing Saddles and Young Frankenstein, creating a medieval sitcom about Robin Hood with all his trademark anachronistic humor. ABC was so confident this would be a hit that they made this one of their most expensive productions ever. The marketing campaign was massive. Richard Gautier played Robin of Locksley, surrounded by Brooks's usual cast of character actors doing their best with a material that just didn't work. The jokes felt forced, and the whole thing had this desperate quality that Brooks's movies never had. 13 episodes, and it was over. The failure so complete, so embarrassing, that Mel Brooks never attempted weekly television again. It was a humbling reminder that movie success doesn't automatically translate to the small screen, even for comedy legends. So there you have it, 1975's most spectacular television failures. Shows that had everything going for them except the most important thing, the ability to connect with audiences. So, did any of these ring a bell? Were you unfortunate enough to witness any of these train wrecks in real time? Drop a comment and share your memories of television's most forgotten failures. And if you're hungry for more deep dives into entertainment history's biggest disasters, subscribe and hit that notification bell.